In today's video tip of the day, I'm going to cover trans fats and the problem that they are for not only your health, but also your muscle gains, and how to be careful when you're buying food because the food industry pulls all kinds of tricks to sneak trans fats in the food that you eat. Now, pretty much everyone knows that trans fats are bad, but do you really know why trans fats are such a problem? And it comes down to their structure. Now here we're looking at a saturated fat and unsaturated fat, as well as a trans fat in the bottom. But fats have what's called a carbon backbone. That's those carbons, those C's that you see going across from left to right. A saturated fat has hydrogen attached to all the carbon spots. Unsaturated fats, however, have some carbons that do not have hydrogens attached. That's why they're called unsaturated. This is the same for trans fats, but trans fats are made in the lab. They're man-made. Now the problem here is if you look at unsaturated fat, the missing hydrogen is on the same side. But with trans fats, they can't duplicate that. And so the missing hydrogens are on different sides of the chain. This causes a little kink in the trans fats versus the unsaturated fat, which actually has a bend. The problem here is that, well, the body knows what to do with saturated fat, which has a straight structure, and unsaturated fat, which has a bend in its structure. It really doesn't know what to do with trans fat, which just has this little kink. So it sort of mucks up the system and causes a lot of health issues. Consuming them can increase your risk of heart disease, diabetes, and certain cancers. Plus, they can inhibit recovery and muscle growth and also increase muscle breakdown. So trans fats are definitely something that everyone wants to avoid, whether you're concerned about your health or your physique and performance. The problem is when you buy certain foods, you may not even know you're consuming trans fats. And when it comes to how many grams of trans fats you can consume in a day, you really want to shoot for 0. No joke, guys. You really want to shoot for 0. Even just a couple grams can be a problem. But if you're not aware of the tricks that the food industry pulls on you, you might actually be consuming far more trans fats than you realize. Now I'm going to use these Ritz crackers as an example. I grew up eating Ritz as a kid, put peanut butter on them, absolutely delicious. Or cheese and pepperoni, whether you want savory or sweet, they're absolutely amazing. But of course they're amazing because they have trans fats. However, if you went to buy Ritz crackers at the store and you looked at the label, you might never know. Now the box I'm holding is the Ritz Fresh Stacks. First I want to start with a standard nutrition facts panel like on this box of Ritz. Now, if we go down and look at total fats, 4.5 grams, we see saturated fat, 1 gram, trans fats, 0 grams. Awesome, right? They have no trans fats. But wait a minute. 0 trans fats. Let's look at the ingredients label. Now, if we go down to the 7th line there, you'll see that word hydrogenated cottonseed oil. And if we read the full listing, it's partially hydrogenated cottonseed oil. Wait a minute. That's a trans fat. How can they list 0 grams of trans fats on the nutrition facts panel when in the ingredients list there's clearly trans fats? Well, let's go back over to this fresh pack. And you'll see that it lists calories, fat, with 2 listings. So one is for 5 crackers, and the other is for a fresh pack, which are 13 crackers. So let's go to the total fat. So you see for 5 crackers, 4.5 grams. For a fresh pack, it's 12 grams. Now let's go down to trans fats. For 5 crackers, 0 grams. But if you have 13 crackers in the fresh pack, you suddenly have 1 gram. How is that possible? How can 5 crackers have 0 grams, but 13 crackers has 1 gram? Now the reason for this comes down to the labeling laws and what food manufacturers are allowed to put on the box. The fact is that as long as you have less than 0.5 grams of trans fats per serving, you could list it as 0 grams of trans fats. However, let's say that there was 0.49 grams of trans fats per serving, whatever the food is. they could list that as 0 grams. If you had 2 servings, you'd be getting almost a full gram of trans fats without even knowing it. And getting a full gram of trans fat is way too much. So be careful when you're making food purchases. A little bit of trans fats here and there can add up to way more than you want. That's going to be detrimental to your health. It's also going to be detrimental to your gains. So make sure you pick up the box. Not like that. So make sure you do your homework, read the nutrition facts panel, as well as the ingredients listing. If you see the word hydrogenated followed by any type of oil on that ingredients list, the product contains trans fats. So either avoid it or make sure you only consume minimal amounts of that food and not that often. Hope this tip of the day was useful to you, and as always, stay Gym Army strong, guys.